man to pledge allegiance under oath. I mean, think of it. I hardly know the man. It doesn't make sense. No, I didn't say that, and I didn't say the other.
Now, the president's own troubled relationship to the truth is well documented. And in his Senate testimony yesterday, Comey himself repeatedly accused the president of lying, citing Trump's untrustworthiness as reason for documenting their conversations in a series of memos.
I was alone with the President of the United States, or the President-elect, soon to be President. The subject matter, I was talking about matters that touch on the FBI's core responsibility and that relate to the President-elect personally, and then the nature of the person. I was honestly concerned that he might lie about the nature of our meeting, and so I thought it really important to document.
At his press conference today, the first since Comey's blockbuster testimony, the president committed to testifying himself under oath before the special counsel.
So he said those things under oath. Would you be willing to speak under oath to give your version of those events?
100%.
So if Robert Mueller wanted to speak with you about that,
I would be glad to tell him exactly what I just told you, Joe.
It's worth noting, calling Comey a liar is a new tactic for the Trump team. On Wednesday, you'll remember, after Comey's written testimony was released, the president's personal attorney, Mark Kasowitz, did not dispute a single one of the former FBI director's claims, instead issuing a statement that read, "The president is pleased that Mr. Comey has finally publicly confirmed his private reports that the president was not under investigation in any Russian probe. The president feels completely and totally vindicated. He is eager to continue to move forward with his agenda." It was not until yesterday that Kasowitz tried to contradict Comey's account, while still claiming Comey's testimony exonerates the president. Today, the president continued to try and have it both ways.
Yesterday showed no collusion, no obstruction. We were very, very happy. And frankly, James Comey confirmed a lot of what I said. And some of the things that he said just weren't true.
I'm joined now by Jason Johnson, politics editor of The Root and Republican strategist and Daily Beast contributor Rick Wilson. Rick, you know, I thought it was notable that after the Comey testimony was released, they did not try to get into a he said, basically a credibility battle between James Comey and the president. Now they have entered into that. How do you think that will play?
Look, we've got one guy with a sterling record for integrity and honesty in Washington for the last 40 years, and you've got another guy who's a pathological liar, who is a chain of abuses, lies, deceptions, adulteries, tax frauds, and every other damn thing under the earth, under the sun. And I think there's no competition here. And I think the Trump people are legitimately going to go out and try to smear Comey as quickly and as deeply as they can, because they recognize that when it comes down to these two men, you know, basically one is the sketchy guy hanging outside the elementary school staring at people, and the other guy's the crossing guard.
Jason, I want to play an amazing moment that happened at that same press conference. This is at issue is who is telling the truth about interactions between the president and James Comey. And the president has just had a private meeting with the head of state of Romania. And a question is asked and something remarkable happens. Take a listen.
Were there any discussion about the visa waiver program for Romania? Is there a time frame for including our country in this program? Thank you.
We didn't discuss it. We didn't discuss it, but there would be it would be something we will discuss, Mr. President.
I mentioned this issue, and I also mentioned it during other.
He literally right there says we didn't discuss it, as the other person in the room says, yes, I mentioned it.
It is hilarious to see, like if this were an episode of Veep, it would be so much easier to stomach. But unfortunately, this is the leader of the free world. And so his incompetence has serious consequences for people in this country, right and left and all over the planet. Here's the thing, Chris. What's disturbing about this is not just that Trump lied, but it's the fact that world leaders clearly realize that the emperor has no clothes.
That's right.
And they're talking about him in any sort of way possible because they know that he has no integrity.
Right. And the point there about credibility and its broad applicability or lack thereof is really important in terms of communicating with world leaders. It also strikes me, Rick, and this is another great tidbit about the President of the United States. This is a headline. BuzzFeed, Trump's lawyers met in pairs to avoid lies. They had to meet in pairs because he was so difficult with the truth. Is the approach to go after Comey and villainize him, it strikes me as essentially their only play at this point, and will be able to consolidate some part of the base that's still there with him?
They'll have the cuckoos and they'll have the weirdos who believe in that Hillary Clinton ran a child cannibal sex ring and all these other crazies. They'll get those people locked in. But the fact of the matter is, this isn't a battle of perception that he can really win with one key audience member, and that's Robert Mueller, who trusts James Comey, who knows James Comey, who has relied on James Comey for many things in the past and vice versa. And he's going to look at this and a lot of the things that Trump has now said, walked himself into the trap in the Rose Garden today, opened himself up to being questioned on a lot of these things. And this isn't some real estate litigation. This isn't some Trump University scam litigation. This is the real deal. These are the big boys. These are the guys where you end up in an orange jumpsuit if you lie.
You know, Jason, this is a really important point, I think, because this is, Trump has been under deposition many times. We've got, there's tape. It's sort of remarkable to watch him. He's sort of a different figure under deposition, under oath. But this is also someone very familiar with civil litigation, but this is not, you can't settle here. And I think it is, to Rick's point, he is in a different legal environment. Even someone as used to legal exposure as he is now in an extremely different legal environment.
You know, Chris, this goes back to what Republicans and Democrats and everybody were saying before he got into office. He doesn't understand government. And this isn't the Paul Ryan excuse. It's Donald Trump still thinks that he can bully or argue or sue or pay his way out of anything. And that doesn't work when people are defending the Constitution. You can't pay off the Constitution. So whatever kind of deals he thinks he can negotiate with Robert Mueller, it won't work. But I'll promise you this, I doubt he'll ever sit for Mueller unless they drag him kicking and screaming to do it because he doesn't want to get caught.
We should note that the president has a history of using the locution 100% and using it to mean absolutely no chance. So I'm not sure that we should keep 100% as its usual meaning. Jason Johnson and Rick Wilson, thank you both.
Thanks, Chris.
And
Thanks, Chris.
Joining me